Yo, what's up, guys? It's Smalls with Thoughts from the Bench. Welcome back to the Vault, the weekly show that takes a look back at some of the best and worst jerseys of all time. As always, I'm joined, and I'm going to say this every week, the funniest co-host on the internet, Benny Buckets. How's it going, man?
Well, thank you, my lord. I'm doing good, man. I'm stoked. I'm still riding the high of our first episode, so I'm ready to keep the streak rolling, man. How are you?
Not too bad, man. Think we got some pretty good feedback on the first one. Hopefully, people enjoyed it. And I think we have an absolute banger of a topic.
Oh, we got
Um,
some good
dude,
shit in store for you guys today.
Dude, it's gonna be awesome. So Ben is not drinking anything, and that's okay. I'm not shaming him. It's fine. We're not alcoholics most of the
Well,
time. Most of the time. But today I'm drinking Founders All Day IPA. Ben, I'm not sure if you've had this or not, but this is one of my probably top 10 beer for me. So
so what I'm gonna get shit for from some of our viewers with what I'm about to say. I love beer. I go to beer tastings and beer festivals. Well, when that was a thing pre-COVID, but I will drink lights, ambers, reds, stouts, darks, porters, whatever. I can't get into IPAs, and I've tried. I've given it a shot, and I'm not somebody who talks shit on IPAs. It's just I can't do it.
I get
I
it.
don't know
No,
what it
I
is.
mean, I mean, I guess if you're a bitch, like, nah, I'm just kidding. I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
okay,
I'm just
okay.
kidding. I'm just kidding. I don't want any of that major friction right off the bat.
No,
Um, um, but I'm not gonna go into all the background like I did for the first episode of what the vault is, but basically the vault every week it's just an opportunity for me and Ben to come in and flex our love of sports jerseys. We live and breathe these things, man. At least I do. I feel like you do as well.
hmm
So each week we're gonna pick a topic and we're gonna come in with three jerseys that kind of match that theme or topic or whatever you want to call it. Kind of talk about each one, and we're gonna we're gonna start today with some stinkers because this is one reason why I absolutely love the vault is because we do both the best and the worst, and I love the worst probably a little more than I love the best.
I think it too because we got a lot more freedom to roam here because I don't give a shit whose feelings we hurt or whose team is, getting pooped on. If you guys made a bad decision, we're going to expose you. And that's what we do. This is a video show where we are supposed to highlight one specific topic. And if you fucking lost it and you sucked at it and you gave us a poop product, this is why we're here, is so that we can shit on it. Now, if it's good, we'll praise the hell out of it. But if it's bad, we're gonna roast you like a pig with an apple in its mouth, and that's just what it is.
Love it. So without further ado, this is a topic that is very, very near and dear to my heart. I love college football. Obviously, that's kind of my forte. And there are some stinkers when it comes to college athletics. And I think we found some doozies this week. I don't know. I don't know if the people were expecting. Like, I was showing my roommate some of these, and he's like, I didn't even know these were out there.
And that's the thing is, honestly, like there were a couple that came to my mind immediately, but when we started talking about the topic, like I looked up a lot because there are so many. Like every big, sports conglomerate has their own lists online for what they thought were the worst and things like that. But there are so many bad options and so many different like interpretations that you can have as to what makes a uniform that bad. But I think even more than most sports, I'd say maybe soccer would give it a run for its money. But college football, man, has some fucking stinkers, dude. Like just the worst. So I'm actually really excited to flame some of these uniforms that we have today.
Yep. Yep. And just so it's clear too, these are not like when we were talking 90s NBA, some of those they were ugly, but it worked because of the era. These just flat out do not work. So I want to
Yeah,
make that
these are
distinction right
ugly
away.
and unemployed. That's
Yeah.
how much they don't work. So
Yeah.
these were just the shit. Like when they say the cream of the crop, this was like the fucking poop juice of the shit. That's how bad
And there's a
these
lot to pick
jerseys
from.
are.
There's a lot to pick from. I feel like a bad college football jersey when you see one, or when you feel your epilepsy start to bubble up and you start seeing it.
Yeah. So if this triggers anybody, viewer discretion advised. So,
All right, let's get into your first one.
all
Who
right,
do you
my
got?
first one here is oh man, these just awkward Wisconsin throwback jerseys that they brought out in 2011. That I don't remember the original era that they had, and but to me, I know that this era was before like Speed Racer was a thing, so I don't know why they adopted that helmet style. Because it looks like if you just flip that W upside down, it looks like the M for like the Mach 5 from fucking Speed Racer. It looks dumb and it's so plain, but they did something different with it, like thinking that like, okay, well, it's just red and white. It's very simplistic and it's very straightforward, but it's straightforward fucking idiocy. It is ridiculous to me that they just stamped that, like, because some work, like whereas with Michigan they have whatever the hell that shit is supposed to be on their helmets, but it kind of works. But that just being just a fucking plain W right on their forehead is so dumb to me. I don't understand it, and I get that it's a throwback, but leave it thrown. Don't bring it back. Leave it back when it was acceptable to have very plain, shitty jerseys. They, in a new age in 2011, decided to bring this back and make it a prominent jersey again. And I have no idea why, because from head to toe, this is just, it's bad. I know a lot of people might think that there's not enough elements to claim it as bad, but like Wisconsin, they're always a pretty simplistic university when it comes to their uniforms in any sport. But this one, they missed the mark by a mile.
Yeah, well, you said like these, you would think that these are pretty straightforward. These are pretty straightforward plus 90 degrees because it looks like they took the helmet and literally just rotated it 90 degrees and they're
Yep.
like, we're going to stamp that bitch. Like, approved. We're going with it. I really could not give a shit what the actual helmets look like back in the day, but like,
It,
Jesus, like,
that's and like I get that they want to pay homage to whatever, but don't embarrass those people even more. Clearly, it was somebody who they let their 4-year-old pick out this design and were like, hey, they just learned how to read and write, so we're gonna let my kid write this W on the front of the helmet, and we're just gonna send you guys out there. Now, granted, I'm sure that this was back in an era where that might have been cool. It's not now. Don't I'm sure that there are other eras that Wisconsin could have pulled from to bring back. They should have left this one buried in the dust.
dude, so and I think there's also a big difference between like a throwback. And you have to, in order to have a good throwback, you have to be kind of in the same era, as in
Mm-hmm.
be in the same era where they were still wearing shoulder pads and not like I feel
Yeah.
like I feel like it's probably a good rule of thumb, right? Not back to the 1930s where it's they were smoking cigarettes on the sidelines. Like you at least got to keep it like kind of consistent, and like with just how the uniforms or even equipment works now, that it doesn't make any sense to me. The jersey itself is fine, but it's just the helmet
But
that's
and even
horrendous.
at that though, it's so plain. Like this is very JV football look to me. And that's like, and even just in the quality, like I get that, that these bigger sports brands may have brought this uniform back and done it in their own way, but it looks like they took the same jerseys, gave them a real good wash, and brought them. Whereas like even some throwback jerseys, the stitching's different, and like it looks like they brought something old and made it new, like almost like it's refurbished. These look like they found them in a box back in their old fucking equipment room at the University of Wisconsin and brought them out. We're like, hey, I just washed these. You want to do this? And people were like, yeah, why not? Give the 4-year-old who designed this helmet some attention here. And then they just fucking ran out on the field with it, and they looked absurd,
Yeah.
especially as late as 2011. Like that would have made sense even if they did that in the 80s or the 90s, bringing it back. But nowadays, like within the last decade, I think that's there's no excuse for the speed racer helmets.
No, it's pretty sus. I'm not gonna lie. And Wisconsin has like Wisconsin has always kind of had traditional looking uniforms, and I'm fine with
Mhm.
that. I like that. Like, I mean, I'm a Penn State guy, so obviously I'm going to say that. But like, I mean, you look at a lot of the big time programs like Clemson, Alabama. Like, I guess you could throw Penn State in there. Ohio State, for the most part, they've had some bad ones too. But like, for the most part, that's usually traditional works, and usually Wisconsin follows that. So I don't know what the fuck they were doing here. But that's a good first pick. I love it. Fucking love it.
Thank you, man. Let's see what you got for your pick.
All right, my first pick.
Oh, yeesh.
I don't even like these ones. I love, like, I know you and I have talked about this before and we've never really released it, but um I love 90s Big Ten football. I love it. There's just something, and it's because I grew up in a Big Ten house. That's really all it is. Something nostalgic about it. Even bad jerseys, almost like the Iowa one that we were looking at, the banana peel
Yep.
one. Like,
Yeah.
that one's fine. Like, that one is so good, or so bad that it's almost good, and it's
Mhm.
just kind of rare. And it's like, oh, that was just the 90s. This is so bad that you can't even say that it's even good.
It just
You know,
stinks, dude. It just
thinks
stinks. And like
out loud.
to me, it would even make sense. Like if for our viewers that you can see on the jersey, especially on the left hand side, with the two M's that connect, it would almost make sense to me. Like I guess they could try and say Minneapolis, Minnesota, but like why the two M's? They're not the Minnesota. They're the Minnesota Gophers. Like it would even make more sense to me if they put a G up there. But like there's no excuse to have it. It kind of looks like they've got a bar to bench and they're using the M's to lift that shit up just laid
Mm-hmm.
across their necks. It looks atrocious. In the plain helmet, I don't get that. I never have liked that. I don't like when if there's not even a stripe on there, it's just a solid color with a different color face mask. It's lazy, dude. It's just
Mm-hmm.
lazy.
Well, yeah, and like, I'm just gonna put this out there as a warning to all like interns or newly hired jersey designers. If you're sitting in a conference room and you somehow end up designing a jersey with the team's logo on the shoulder pad, pause, back up, you fucked up. That's just across the board. It's almost never good. And like, this is just so it looks like how they're connected. It's literally just like a landing strip for a defender trying to give one of these guys a
Yeah.
concussion. These are just they're so bad, and the team was never good when they were wearing them. Like, I have some
Nope.
of the records. If they wore these for 4 years, they went 2-9, 4-7, 3-8, and 3-8. I think that pretty much says it all right there.
It's not a good look, but I think on top of that, more than anything, Minnesota has never really been a threat as a school. And something that I've said before is I feel like some schools can almost disguise how shitty they are if they look all right, and they didn't do either.
Nope.
They flat out stunk at football, and whoever made these jerseys stunk at design, and they just completely buffooned this entire thing up and down. And dude, this is one that, like, if anyone is sitting there and watching this and being like, oh, it ain't that bad, please talk to us, reach out, call us. We'll give you a uniform help hotline and teach you why this is so bad. If anyone needs more clarification, let us know. This is a stinky friggin' jersey.
It's bad. Minnesota, I can't talk that shit on Minnesota because they ended our national title hopes last year. So I was walking through the streets of Arlington, Virginia, screaming. My roommate was punching stop signs. It was a bad scene. But I can't talk shit on Minnesota in the recent years, but this is horrendous. Ben, let's go on to your second one. There. Ooh.
All
Oof.
right.
Duck Dynasty. Here we go.
All my yeehaws out there are gonna love this one. So these are camo adopted jerseys from 2014. The University of Louisiana Monroe, the Warhawks, decided to bring out as an alternate jersey. And as Smalls hinted to before, this was endorsed by the guys at Duck Commander, who are responsible for the show Duck Dynasty, the Robertson family, if you know who that is. Anybody who watched that show religiously will most likely get a kick out of this. But if you just know who they are by reference, or you've seen an episode here or there like Smalls and myself, then you will know that these guys should not be in charge of anything sports related besides duck hunting. Because if you look at these, right, I feel like they missed the mark so bad for so many reasons. One, a realistic camo jersey looks absolutely asinine. If it was digital camo, I could maybe kind of see it. And like, I know certain military schools have adopted that, and even some other schools, but in their color. The pattern isn't that bad. This looking like real leaves and shit, thank God they do not play football in the woods, because you would lose these motherfuckers. I am at least thankful, I guess, if they were to do that, that they kept the white pants and the white helmet with their new updated logo that has nothing to do with the jersey of the whole thing. They don't go at all. The design of the helmet and the pants and even their accessories like the gloves and everything else, they just have a random camo jersey that looks so out of place. They look like a bunch of idiots. Like, they're walking out there, and I'm sure that some of these guys, who in the off season, well, me and my pappy, we go hunting out there. And basically, all I do is I bait traps and I hunt and I play football, and I'll gut that deer up, and then I'll gut up the defense. Know what I mean? Those motherfuckers are the people who love this shit. Everybody else who actually pays attention to football, and if you are Jersey heads like me and Smalls are, you should be on the verge of vomiting, because this is just one of the biggest mistakes. In like, I even had people tell me like, oh, well, at least it was like area specific. When I think of Louisiana, like, I get that there's a lot of hunters and stuff out there, but even maybe make it like more swampy, or something like more bayou-esque, not fucking in the middle of fall deer hunting. And especially when it doesn't correlate with anything else. If they had a color that was accented in the jersey, that was the main color of the pants or the helmet, or they even say kept the helmet white, but then made that logo camo, something to correspond, it just looks so thrift shop put together for a football team that this is just embarrassing.
Yeah, like you said, camo can work. I think TCU kind of incorporates camo. That's like kind of cool. Like you said, the military schools do a decent job. Like, there's no excuse for this. Like, I don't get me like, I grew up hunting. I still hunt. Do I go out in public wearing my camo? No. Do I go to a football game wearing my real tree? No. Like, there's
and I definitely don't think you've ever turned any of those items of clothing into a fucking football jersey. So
no,
that's
and like,
too.
we are not talking shit on like
By no means.
No,
If that is your life, and that is your favorite thing to do, and that is
nothing
part of
wrong
your
with it.
identity, I am all for it. Leave
Nothing
it out
wrong
of
with
fucking football.
Yeah,
Leave
dude.
it away from football.
Dude, I mean, this reminds me of, and maybe it was just because of where you and I grew up, but the kids I would wear, or the girls I would wear, the camo prom tuxes and dresses, and you're like, man, who?
We had a
God,
very
you want to
mixed
say
bag
something?
Of people that we went to high school with, and anyone who knows us or went to school with us or knows of our school, you know that we had a very wide variety of culture. But there was a giant chunk that would do shit like that. And I'm just going to keep my mouth shut past that, because I'm going to piss some people off if I keep talking. So we'll just leave it there. But regardless, this jersey should not be if you are going to put it into football, make it work with the rest of the uniform. Don't just throw a camo jersey on there. That'd be like if they put a sequence jersey with that helmet and those pants. Somebody could argue that it might be good as a full uniform. You don't just throw something that is so unlike the rest of the uniform right in the middle of it. This is just bad move, man. Bad move.
Yeah, you might as well bedazzle it like an Ed Hardy pair of jeans, and like
Dear
it'd be the
God.
same thing.
Could you imagine if a school got Ed Hardy to sponsor them and he designed that? Actually, you know what? I would like to see that. I would like to see that just so that I can make fun of that school forever.
Don't say that out loud because I feel like I'd be shocked if it hasn't happened actually, because you got to think about how many collegiate programs are out there. Maybe
Yeah.
it's like a D2 school. I don't know. I'm not sure. It
Oh
might be out
Christ.
there. Um, but that's a stinker just because I mean, it's Louisiana, so like what else do you expect? Like, but still, like you gotta keep it together a little bit. You can't be doing this.
Mitch,
Um,
I feel like they could have put more of the state's personality into it,
yeah.
past just a random splash of camo. So, and that's I don't have anything against ULM except this jersey.
Well, and you all, I feel like the dude on the right, you like he's the guy that they picked to take a picture in the new uniform to post to social media. He put it on. He's like, bruh, do I have to do this? Like, please tell me I don't have to be the guy showing off this. Like, there's no way. But
And for those of you who don't know anything about UL Monroe, it's because of shit like this. That's just
yep.
plain and simple.
Hmm.
They are not doing themselves any favors, and man, Godspeed to the rest of those guys over there, I guess.
Dude, I love the South, man. Love the South. Duck Hodges. Love Duck Hodges. One of the biggest hicks
Mike
probably in
Heard,
the
you
NFL.
registered a vote. That's Duck Hodges, man. Love that guy.
Love Duck Hodges, but these are dog shit. Let's move on. This one has a very, 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 very special place in my heart.
So, Smalls, looking at this jersey, a lot of people are thinking that's not so bad. It's not so sore on the eyes. But why is it so bad, Smalls? Please enlighten us.
Well, you might notice the title of this, for this jersey, 2003 Yukon Huskies Aeropostale. That's right. Nike, they could have gone with Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, Russell,
Even Reebok.
like
And they
Reebok. Goddamn Aeropostale. Those motherfuckers that sent you to school looking, whoops, wrong, wrong one. I wish I was gonna show you a picture of this guy. I'm gonna show it right now. Actually,
Oh Christ.
can you see that?
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh man,
That's
that
right.
takes me back to a very sad 12-year-old me.
That's
And
right.
oh man.
Like these are the people that sent you to school looking like that.
That
And
were usually accompanied by a pair of plaid shorts, or some jeans that weren't supposed to fit any normal person. And Arrow is like, that's one of those brands that I feel like anybody who was around when that was like the thing can look back at that now and be like, God damn it. You know what I mean? Like why did I dress like that? And they put these on a college Division 1 fucking football team. Like
dude,
this wasn't sending you to middle school. These were 18 through 22, 23-year-old men who were wearing these jerseys.
dude, it boggles the mind. Like it's unbelievable, really. Like so when I guess a little background here, like it wasn't like UConn went and they didn't go out to Aeropostale and say, "Hey, give us your best shit. Like we'll take it." Apparently, how it started was, I guess, I think it was 2002, so the year before this, Aeropostale they just gave away free silver like pants, like uniform pants for the UConn football team. No one really knew that it was Arrow. Everyone just said, like, apparently the team was like, hell yeah, like silver pants. That's sick. For which I think is a weird thing to get excited about, but apparently
Yeah,
that's what they
unless
said.
you're running a '90s nightclub, but other
Right.
than that,
And I guess the story goes that Nike, the Nike exclusive uniform deal or merchandise deal that Yukon had, it only covered basketball and hockey. They did not cover the football team. So there was a gap year where Aeropostale came in and said, "Fuck it, like we'll get into Division One football."
and
Um, it's so
and
bad.
isn't like out of all schools, isn't a state like Connecticut one that honestly kind of makes sense for them to have that? And ironically enough, since we're on the topic of things that deserve an Aeropostale sponsorship, take a look at who's on the left-hand side of your screen. That is quarterback Dan Orlovsky. For those of you who don't know who that is, he is a quarterback who was the leader of the 2008 Lions, who went 0-16. He is a guy who in that season ran out of the back of his own end zone and created the most embarrassing play by a quarterback besides maybe Mark Sanchez's butt fumble. This is something that I have never let go. And this is something that I will always remember in the back of my mind. And this is also something that if anyone who's been following my journey on Thoughts from the Bench knows that I have a very personal beef with Dan Orlovsky. And Dan and I go, well, we'll just say back to last year where he was just saying some things that I didn't agree with. And I think that a guy who ran out of the back of his own end zone should have no authority on judging other quarterbacks. And a guy who his most notable trait is being the guy who was the quarterback of an 0-16 team who never did anything else. He barely played in the NFL. That's the most games he got to play was during that season. He bounced around the league. I don't know how he stayed in the league as long as he did. And now he looks and sounds like a preppy 12-year-old who's on NFL Network and will sometimes do spots on other shows, giving his opinions about how bad other quarterbacks are, and then defending other quarterbacks who are very bad. And he continuously makes the wrong opinions. I happen to tweet at him. Dan tweeted at me back. He did not like what I had to say. I said that he was very wrong and pompous, and I didn't like watching him on TV. And I cracked a couple jokes, and Dan and a couple people who are really thirsty for attention decided to try and come at me, and I stiff-armed all of them like I was Derek fucking Henry. But then I tried reaching out to Dan. I said, you know what? Maybe I was too harsh. Maybe I was a little bit of an asshole. And because I know that I can do that. That is a trait that I possess. But so does Dan. He couldn't do it. He couldn't take the heat that I was bringing to him, which is remarkable to me because I am just some guy outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, tweeting at you that has no relevance in the NFL. And I was possibly a topic at that man's dinner table because I pissed him off. That's pretty awesome. So the fact that there's just more and more embarrassing things and seeing him be wrong about that Jimmy G is a franchise quarterback, that Carson Wentz is the best quarterback the Eagles could get, and that Nick Foles was going to end up being a franchise guy down in Jacksonville and then Chicago. He's wrong about quarterbacks all the time. And of course he is, because he's a shit quarterback. So how would he know what quarterbacks are going to succeed? And I think this all genuinely cursed him from the beginning when he graced that Aeropostale jersey. And that's how this thing comes full circle. Smalls, I'm done venting.
Dude, well, I love that you have a rivalry with Dan Orlovsky. That's one of the funniest things I remember when it happened. I was like, I think I was relatively new to the bench. I don't know how long ago it was, but I was relatively new to the bench, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like Dan Orlovsky is like,
I texted Derek a screenshot in all caps. I was like, holy shit, I can't believe he said anything. And he did. He responded to me, and there were dozens of people. I mean, probably realistically close to maybe 20, 30 from across the United States who were Dan supporters, and they wanted to lick his butthole or whatever. And so they came at me and tried defending him because, and granted, you know what? I will give him more than anything, though he showed that he was upset with me on Twitter. He never outdid me. He didn't stoop to my level. He just acted like a slightly petty professional, and he let his little dogs with 6 followers do the work for him and bark back at me. But overall, I can't tell. Is Dan Orlovsky my best friend or my worst enemy? The world may never know. But a guy who put on an Aeropostale jersey and played at the University of Connecticut and had one of the most embarrassing careers in the history of quarterbacks in the game of football doesn't look so good.
Yeah, and I feel like you probably mentioned this, but I just want to play this real quick. This is Dan Orlovsky in a nutshell. I hate him on ESPN. He's an absolute clown. I hate him. But
Absolute clown.
this is what I think of when I think Dan Orlovsky. He just ran safety in his own end zone because he ran out the back. And yeah, he acts like he laughs about it now, but like that guy is a clown. I've never agreed with any. I hate all those shows to begin with because they're there to argue. There's no substance, which is fine. There's an appetite for it. There's nothing wrong with it. I just don't personally like it. Like, whatever. But
the guy's just so goddamn cringeworthy. Like they do segments where they have him impersonate people's touchdown dances.
Yeah, that's bad.
If you haven't seen it, don't. Usually this would be a part in the show where I tell you, oh, you got to look this up, or Smalls bring it up. Leave it away from me. If you want to view it on your own, you go right ahead, but I would recommend not because you will cringe to your core. He's just a cringy guy, and he's wrong about a lot of shit. And I feel like they use him just to annoy people. And you know what? Yep. If that's what they're doing, it's working. Fine. Great job. You utilized him to the best of his potential.
Yep, and I can't believe that he would, like, that's just so perfect that you and I do the show with you, of all people. I do it with you, and this is the guy that's the poster child of the Aero 87 Yukon Huskies.
When you told me about this jersey, I genuinely, before Smalls brought it up to me, I had no idea. I had no idea that this was the thing. And so I looked it up. Just not that I thought he was lying, but just so that I could see for myself. And I see old buddy Dan, and I was like, that makes so much sense. That makes too much sense, to the point that of all people that is going to be sporting an Aeropostale D1 football jersey, it would be Dane Orlovsky, as the Pat McAfee show so affectionately calls him.
Dude, it's funny too. I mean, these jerseys, like, the look of them is okay. It's very 2003. Like, honestly, I feel like Big Ben's Miami, Ohio jersey looks
similar,
pretty similar. But it's just the fact that it's the same people that sent us to school wearing plaid shorts, the graphic tees with the strings hanging off.
Yep. Oh man. What were we thinking?
I don't know.
What were we thinking?
Everyone had that point in their life, though. Like, I'm not pretending that I didn't wear that, but
if you were white and you went to a public school, you went through this phase. That's just that's a fact. But anyway, jersey, not that bad. It's just more about the sponsorship that we are just completely embarrassed to say that a D1 football team put this on their players.
Yep. Well, I can't. So there was one other team the same year. I don't know if it was the same. It was around the same time. I can't let you get off the hook. There was one other team that also had an Aero 87. That's right. The Pitt football coaching staff also was.
Listen, that's a coaching staff. I
had to throw this in there.
It's a polo shirt.
I had to do it. I had to do it.
So a little backstory: Smalls is an OG Penn State guy, and I'm an OG Pitt guy, and so we've always got that little rivalry back and forth. But this is a polo shirt, okay, which makes at least a little bit more sense. I'm not proud of it, but it is what it is.
I couldn't let you slide, but yeah, that's my second pick. 2003 Yukon Aero 87 Huskies. Ben, let's get to your third one, bud.
This is my third and final pick, and there is a backstory to this that is genuinely hilarious to me. So this is 2007, Virginia Tech, and they had to borrow Georgia Tech's practice jerseys. So the rumor has it that most of the Virginia Tech jerseys went missing. They don't know if they got stolen or if they got left in a bag on a different plane or a bus. They didn't have their jerseys when they showed up for game time. And apparently they didn't do enough reconnaissance to make sure that they had that shit before they got to the stadium. So Virginia Tech has their helmets and everything, but they don't have their jerseys. So they borrowed Georgia Tech's practice jerseys that say Georgia Tech on them, that have their numbers and their colors incorporated. Thankfully, it was at least a white jersey, but they sport these, and there are no names stitched on the back. So instead of even just leaving the numbers as is and updating a number roster, these guys decide to go second grade art project and write their names in Sharpie on the back of the jerseys, which really exposed some of these people's handwriting, like Cam Chancellor's, on the back of their college football jerseys. And who you see sporting the jersey here is Mike Glennon, who is somehow still in the league. If anybody knows who that is, he is a human pencil who somehow made it to the league that should be able to flip over and erase his entire career because it's nothing good to look at anyway.
Hey man. Mike Glennon, aka I like to call him Big Bird, has made a great NFL career for himself by doing it's the ultimate hustle because he has not done a thing, and both the Bears and the Bucks have paid him large amounts of money. Large amounts of money. It's crazy.
And to me, I think that like there are guys like that, like Sam Bradford, one of the best league dupers of all time. And Mike Glennon is in that. These guys get paid to do jack shit. They don't do anything. They're bad at their job. They're bad at the sport. And somehow they keep getting these contracts. And it honestly makes me think that we need to give each NFL GM an IQ test just to see like what they're doing. Whose GM does Mike Glennon's dad know? Like I want to like how is he nailing these roles in these contracts? Because I don't know. And you know what? Maybe, like I said, with Dan Orlovsky getting cursed by the Arrow jersey, maybe Mike Glennon was cursed by his practice jersey. Because to me, this is so funny to me. Like, I remember when I played football in middle school, we had enough home jerseys, but not enough away jerseys of each number. So we would have to wear different numbers of an away jersey. Like our home jerseys and our away jerseys didn't match up because we had mix and match numbers because no one gave a shit about middle school football. This is worse because this is Division I football. This is division. And Virginia Tech at the time, you got to figure this was just after like the Michael Vick era. So Virginia Tech was still a program that a lot of people were turning their eyes to. And they had Mike Glennon, they had Tyrod Taylor, they had Cam Chancellor, they had talented athletes, especially at the college level, that were on that team. And something as embarrassing happens to them like this. Now, this isn't a jersey that they intended to wear, and this isn't something that is necessarily in their archives of jerseys. But when I think of bad jerseys, I know this one might be a little bit of an exception because it was a one-time thing, but this is probably the most embarrassing one I could have picked, and I'm really happy that we got to fit it on the show.
So, two things. I want to show off the human goose that is Mike Glennon.
Oh my God, he is a goose. He is a goose. Look at him. If you don't look at that guy and just think that as soon as you say hello to him, he go, oh, then you're out of your mind because look at that.
So that's number one. Number two, I work in Virginia. I'm a young professional in the DC area, work with a ton of Virginia Tech grads. I hear about Virginia Tech football all the time, and everyone talks it up. They have not been good, like actually legitimate for a few years now. However, it's always been a program that I've never disliked. Enter Sandman, that, you know, the song that they play when they enter that stadium is, man, I'm biased towards, you know, the Penn State wideout, but Enter Sandman at Virginia Tech is probably one of the most electric things you will ever see. I love Virginia Tech. But how the fuck does a respectable Division I Power 5 football program not at the very least have backup jerseys for
The
every
equipment manager had to
three?
be fired. Somebody lost their job. There is no way that
Like,
this went
how do you
unpunished.
not have a plan for this? Are you serious? Like, you have no contingency plan whatsoever for losing
I think I
the
would have
fucking
rather worn.
ACC. How do you do this?
I think, and that's what I'm saying. Why didn't they even at least have their own practice jerseys? Like,
That's yeah. At the
even at that
very
point,
least,
their own. I would have rather worn T-shirts than another team's friggin' practice jersey that
they
I have
scratched
to.
out the name. They literally just like scratched out the name.
They blacked it out and then wrote in Sharpie their names on the back. So then, even at that point, Georgia Tech's got to get new practice jerseys because they're not going to wear that shit with Mike Glennon's name on the back. You know what I mean? Like, this is one of the most embarrassing moments in college football history. And it was just something so funny, but so minute that I had to pull it out and I had to bring it to the show.
No, I love it. A fun fact: there were only 4 players that did not have their actual game jerseys. I don't know the other 2, but at halftime, I don't know how they did this and didn't get all of them the actual jerseys. But at halftime, like before halftime, they sent a private jet from Blacksburg, Virginia, down to Atlanta with a private plane with the uniforms, but they forgot 2 guys. The 2 guys that they forgot were Mike Glennon and Tyrod Taylor. So after halftime, they were the only 2 guys on the field with these on. And that to me blows my mind.
Isn't that even worse?
That sucks that Tyrod Taylor was even in the same like thought as Mike Glennon because he was the guy that happened to be in a Virginia Tech practice jersey or Georgia Tech practice jersey with Mike Glennon. That's hilarious.
And that's, oh man, poor Tyrod, dude. Now,
That's
Mike
tough.
Glennon, that seems like a very Mike Glennon thing to do. Smalls pulled him up for you guys. You saw what he looked like. That's a very Mike Glennon thing to happen. Like, I feel like he was like the first bad luck Brian before that meme became popular. Like, look at that guy. Nothing has been going right, and it probably won't because he's fucking Mike Glennon.
Jesus.
So wrapping this one up, that's one of my funniest memories, period. But with that being what I think was the worst on my end, I know Smalls has a real doozy for people who have been paying attention the last couple of years.
All right. My third and final pick. The 2017 Florida Gators Swamp alternate jersey. I don't even know where to begin with this. So, first and foremost, I just want to say this. I have an irrational fear of alligators and crocodiles. I hate them.
What?
Yeah, I'm going to start. This is how I'm going to start. I saw, have you ever seen Lake Placid?
Yeah.
I saw that at age 2. That night, yeah, right? That night, I had a dream that alligator was chasing me and my family. And ever since then, the more I learn about them, every time I see one, I can't stand alligators. That has nothing to do with why I hate this fucking jersey. This thing is so horrendous. I have a list. I have a list of facts for you guys.
Oh Christ.
Ben, do you want to guess how long they spent? This wasn't a whim. They didn't just come up with this a few weeks before. Do you know how long they spent designing this?
3 months.
18 fucking months. They spent 18 goddamn months putting this shit on national television. This apparently it was because of the 25th anniversary of Steve Spurrier calling Ben Hill Griffith, which is the Florida Gators stadium, called it the Swamp 25 years ago. It's Swamp Night. So they went to Nike. Whoever was at Nike that got that assignment, they were thinking that they were on some next level shit. Like this
Or
is
they
some
must have been
sick
an
shit.
or they must have been an undercover Seminoles fan because they wanted to fuck over Florida. Let me just start by saying I do like the Florida Gators. I have family who went to Florida.
Yeah.
They were always my second team behind
Yep.
Pitt. I can't, even out of fanhood, I can't say anything positive about this because I get the concept. I get that they were trying to make it look like alligators, but then why have the helmet not look that way? And why still keep the orange? Because the orange does not go with the pattern whatsoever. And then with the blue undershirt, the colors don't match. No, none of those accent colors. Like it should have been another darker color, or even maybe like a white, or like a lighter green, something that kind of corresponded with it. And then with the scales and shit, right? It's just on the torso. When you go down to the pants, it's a solid gross diarrhea color. And same with the helmet, except it's shiny and they put orange numbers on that shit. They could have made it cooler, but they decided just to say, you know what? Let's try and make it cool and then fuck it up. That's what happened.
Dude, these literally look like I ate a combination of Oreos and asparagus and
Oh
puked
no.
it onto a jersey. Like I've never seen anything this bad. And the fact that I don't know, it's such a weird move because when you think helmets with numbers on them, that's like an old school thing. That's what you're normally going for if you're putting numbers on a helmet. What the fuck is this?
It doesn't correspond with the uniform. That's the thing. It doesn't go. It just doesn't go. None of it makes sense. Like, because it's like the jersey would have even been okay if they made it transition into the pants, and they didn't. It would have made sense if the numbers and the lettering were different colors, but it's not. It would have even made sense if they changed. Like, okay, and maybe that's just a player's thing. Like, I wonder who told them, wear your blue undershirts for this shit.
Dude, the blue undershirts also have the scales on them. So this was.
Wait, did they really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yep. If you look at the one on the right, yep, they have the scales
They
on.
just, and I'll tell, for Florida being a program who they're not always spot on, but they've been relevant for the last 20 years. They've kept themselves as a relevant team, and it is hard competing in the SEC. Mm-hmm. I would expect this from a program who needs attention. Florida doesn't need attention. They always get it because they're Florida. They are a high-profile program. I am so disappointed. I'm just like it's one of those, like, when your parents get mad at you and they give you the I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. That's how I feel about this Gators uniform. And man, they could have done so much cooler shit. They could have done so much better. And especially to discredit Steve Spurrier and his legacy at Florida like that, man, I would be pissed if I was him.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, they've had some good throwbacks. They've had some. I like their just standard normal uniform. The cursive Florida, I think it looks great. But they've only had one other stinker, and it was basically like a slash.
Are you talking about where the shoulder pad was orange?
Yeah, it's like one is orange and the rest of it's blue.
It's blue.
That one's bad.
That's when that was right before Tebow, because that's when Chris Leak was still the quarterback there. Yep. I remember that. Yeah, because I watched a few games with Chris Leak sporting that jersey, and it looks dumb. They kind of look like, if anybody out there are Star Wars fans, there's some of the clone troopers who had like one shoulder pad that was a different color. That's kind of what it looked like, as opposed to everything else. And it missed the mark. But I would rather see them wear that as their permanent jersey over ever putting these swamp alternate jerseys on ever again. They should burn them and throw in the person who designed this with the burn pile. This was embarrassing.
Well, yeah, this was, I think there's some bad ones, and we'll get to some of the honorable mentions in a sec, but like, I remember when I saw this back in 2017, and legit, the first thought I had, well, I'm not looking forward to this new flavor of Gatorade. This is just so, oh my God, dude, like, there's no excuse for it. Like, Why do you need a gimmick? You're the fucking University of Florida. Why do you need a
You
gimmick?
don't. You produce great talent. You've got teams that are always competitive. Why do you need to cry out for attention, and especially negative attention? There's no way. There's no way that in that entire university there wasn't one person who was like, "Hold up a second, who puked on these uniforms?" Dude, it's fucking embarrassing. It's just so bad.
It's so bad. Luckily, they're own one in these things, so I don't think they're ever going to bring these things back. They lost to
I
A&M.
hope to
But,
God that they don't.
Whew. Okay, so wrapping it up, I got a few honorable mentions here. These,
Almost
okay,
made the cut.
this was a hard category to pick for there because there are so many bad ones out there. I don't know what it is about Big Ten programs that always pick god awful jerseys, but it seems like a theme because it's been that way since the 90s. Michigan State, why the fuck they have
so many greens? They got three
state?
different greens.
It doesn't make any fucking sense. And again, it's a shoulder pad thing. Why do you have shit going across the shoulders? It doesn't make any sense. These Michigan ones, I feel like I'm at a rave with the fucking stripes going down the shoulder. Like, I feel like I'm about to convulse. I feel like this is just Halloween. I don't know what Colorado State was doing because these aren't their fucking colors. Like,
and that's what I'm saying. Anybody who knows Colorado State, they've got like a very bold gold in a green that go with their colors most of the time. I don't know where the hell they pulled that orange from and why. It looks bad. It just looks bad because it's not even like they changed a whole lot. They just changed the most important part of that uniform and made it look gross.
Yeah. And I threw Wisconsin. This one was kind of, I didn't put it in just because it was towing the line of being so bad that it's good because I think this is just hilarious. And
it is.
I would wear it. Like if I was drinking in my backyard, I would wear this. Like, playing lawn games, I think I would wear this. It's just funny. It's funny, but it's also horrendous, so I had to throw it in there.
Absolutely. So anybody who's a Wisconsin fan, just know that we have talked about 2 uniforms for your university today. Maybe you need to try and fix some shit.
Which is crazy because they almost never change it up. That's the weird thing.
But that's the thing, though, is when they do, it's bad.
Yeah.
It's always bad.
So, yeah, maybe play the hits. You know what I'm saying? So, Ben, I think that was a great one. I had so much fun. That was from the start. That was like that was going to be my favorite topic that we talk about.
I love hyping up any uniform type, and that we can talk about any uniform. If anyone were to even send us something in, we will be able to make conversation out of it. But it is fun to just roast the hell out of people who just missed the mark. Like, I feel like, it's that old saying, you had one job and these people fucked it up. So I had a blast. I'm glad that we tore some people up, and I look forward to doing more episodes like that in the future.
Hell yeah. That was awesome. Guys, this has been the Vault with Smalls and Bunny Buckets. The weekly show where we talk about the best and today the worst sports jerseys of all time. We have a lot more coming down the pipeline. If you guys, however, do have ideas for us, I think we're definitely open to hearing any ideas. We're definitely going to take audience requests at some point. Please,
if you have suggestions, positive or negative, we really like to adopt the saying of Creed, with arms wide open. So we will take that shit and we will digest it, poop it out, and then produce a product for you guys to watch in the next coming weeks.
Yes, sir. Well, it's been a good one, guys. I can't get the Florida Gators swamp out of my head, so I'm going to call this one. Ben, it's been a good one. I appreciate you guys calling in.
Thank you, man. Good seeing you. Look forward to doing this again next week.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Peace.